In this video, we're going to take a look at an orange ink by Noodlers in their V-Mail series, Operation Overlord. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the Orange Ink playlist, so if you wanted to see more, you could find that there. I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo, sheen. We get great shading in the stub. Even better shading in the extra fine that's a little bit lighter than the stub. And still amazing shading in the medium that's a little bit lighter than the extra fine. The extra fine took 8 seconds to dry and the medium took 9. Scrubby for both do show some good color variation, and we definitely get it in the writing. And the smear test I think you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Kaweco Brass Sport with a fine nib was inked up, used for day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. We get no bleeding, minor ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen. We get some decent shading in the stub, good shading in the extra fine, best shading in the medium. All of them are generally around the same tone, although on camera the stub looks slightly darker, but not so much in person. The extra fine took 11 seconds to dry, while the medium took 14. Scrubby for both do show some color variation, and we definitely get it. And the smear test I do not think you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And this was a very surprising one, because at the bottom is a very pink tone, and it didn't move very far, and then you start to get some nice oranges and a bright yellow across the top. The one on the right that was allowed to dry for 10 minutes, most all of that pink really stayed in place in a line at the bottom. Very little of it moved, showing the pink is going to be the resistant aspect of this ink. Now, the yellow comes next, and we get a line of an orange across the top. So the yellow and the orange really switched places there, which I was not expecting. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather spread, halo sheen, great shading in the stub, in the extra fine, in the medium. Fantastic. The extra fine is about the same tone as the stub, while the medium is slightly lighter than the extra fine. Extra fine took 9 seconds to dry, and the medium took 11. Scrubby for both give us good color variation. You know why? This ink has good color variation. Look at that shading all the time. And the smear test, you probably could recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on a page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. This smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I feel perfectly safe using this in a note-taking situation. It did not budge. Now, water in 30 seconds removed everything but that pink that was there. That's still very much in the page. Pen flush did everything that water did and nothing more, but it only took water to get it out of the pen. 1/3 bleach solution completely removed it, except that weird kind of spot there. I just don't think it got all of the pink out yet. The next writing sample is done on yellow Rhodia paper. This is done not to look at performance change, but really to see tone change. And I was really interested in what happens when we add more yellow to that pink. And what we get is a slightly darker tone of orange all around, just slightly darker, but no real change. It just means that this is a very opaque ink. For the inks tested, the average viscosity is 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Noodler's Operation Overlord has a viscosity of 2.65, so it's normal. If you're interested in how the viscosity tests and the bell curve's made, then down in the description is a link to that video. Now, let's take a look at Franklin Christoph paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. we get no feather, spread, halo sheen. We get a little bit of shading in the stub, better shading in the extra fine, very nice shading in the medium. In general, the extra fine and the medium look about the same tone, while the stub looks slightly darker than both of them. The extra fine took 4 seconds to dry and the medium took 5. Scrubby for both show good color variation, and we're definitely getting it in the writing. And a smear test you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. Noodler's Operation Overlord has an average dry time of 10 seconds, so this is a little bit faster drying than normal. The last writing sample is done on Strathmore calligraphy paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feather, spread, halo sheen, light shading in the stub, little better shading in the extra fine, about the same amount as the extra fine is in the medium. Very nice in the extra fine and medium. It really looks fantastic. The extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub, while the medium's the same tone as the extra fine. Extra fine took 4 seconds to dry and the medium took 7. Scrubby for both give good color variation. And it's there in the writing. And the smear test, sorry, but you can't recover if you smear while you're writing. Instead of finding inks that look like Noodler's Operation Overlord, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I decided to go with a blue ink by Herbin, their Eclat de Saphir. If you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of Noodler's V-Mail series, Operation Overlord? I really enjoy this. I just have like 9 bottles of orange inks. I guess I could add another. I think I like it better than Apache Sunset. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience with this ink? Now, if you were to use a very wet pen, you're going to get a much darker orange without any kind of shading, and if that's what you prefer, then it's going to look good in any pen. Any other flow, a medium or dry flow, is going to give a great tone and amazing shading all the way. It's really dealer's choice with the separation of, do you want a solid dark orange from a wet pen or the shading from every other pen that ever existed? I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video, we're going to take a look at Sailor Kobe number 48.